Okay, we were initially going to include a really deeper dive into the reports section during this webinar, but Keep Truckin' is actually completely revamping our reports section in a few weeks, so we'll just be doing a deep dive into the reports section in a couple weeks with another webinar. But for this brief explanation, I just want to explain a few of the most important and useful reports that you should utilize right now. So first we have logs detail. And this logs detail report is very useful in figuring out how much time each driver is spending in each driving status. So the report just makes it easy to see an overview of the driver's logs for the week without having to click to each specific day in your dashboard. Not only does it show you the time spent in each of the statuses, but it also shows you the vehicle or multiple vehicles that they were in, how far they drove, and any violations that they've had in the time period, whether it's an HOS violation or a form and manner error. As you'll notice, it presets to the past week, although you can edit this to 2 weeks if you want to, and that might be helpful for your payroll. If you export this report to Excel, you can create, like a total column to add up the total hours of a driver's drive time or on-duty time. Okay. Secondly, what we have is the trip reports detail. So this is great for an overview of IFTA miles in your fleet. It's preset to the current quarter, which is, as most of you know, what you'll do to file your IFTA tax reports. So this report just makes it very clear to see the breakdown of what's found in the IFTA tab of your dashboard. We show you the jurisdiction, how many miles were driven each day, the odometer start and end readings, and as long as it is an IFTA vehicle, we actually will show the latitude and longitude coordinates, just like right here. Okay, the next report that I want to go over with you is the vehicle utilization summary. And this report shows you, whether it's by vehicle or by group, how much time is spent with the car on, but the driver is stationary and not actually driving. So we tell you the length of driving time versus idle time, and then as well as the fuel used for each. So this can help you pinpoint which drivers are leaving the truck running without driving, which ends up costing you money as a company by paying for useless gas consumption. Hopefully all of your drivers are at 100% though, so you won't have to worry about this. Cool, and lastly, the report I want to show you is the driving events detail report. And this one gives you an overview of every single ELD recorded driving event and the status of it, whether that's completed or not. So most of the driving events are completed. However, in the rare cases that the ELD may have been unplugged or tampered with, you can switch the view to see those that are interrupted. And it would show you right here when it got unplugged. Let's go ahead back to all statuses though. So we'll also allow you to view the type of driving event, which will really help you to ensure your drivers are using personal conveyance or yard move correctly. For example, if you look at yard moves only and you notice that a driver drove for a few hours in a really far distance, you can assume he was not actually doing a yard move, but rather using that status to obtain more drive time in the day. So you can make sure he doesn't do that again. Don't want to get any violations for that. This report will also help you to view which drivers are forgetting to connect to their vehicles, because you'll see the unidentified driving as the driver. So you can ask them to claim those driving events in their dashboard. For all of these reports, you can export the information into Excel as a CSV file. And then when you select to export it, the system will send the downloaded link to your email. Then you can open it up and sort the data or add other fields or columns to help with any other reporting purposes that you may not be able to handle with the Direct Reports tab. Again, these are just a few of the key reports for you to take a look at right now, but we will be getting the updated reports section by the end of this month, so stay tuned for any updates about future webinars on this topic. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Leah, for going over reports for us. And now we're going to change gears here and move on to the admin tab. So the admin tab is basically the back office of your dashboard. This is where you can add drivers and vehicles, edit your managers, edit your groups, order more ELDs, create alerts, and other items. So what I'm going to do is walk you through each menu item here on the left so that you know the full capabilities of your Keep Truckin' admin dashboard. So the first tab we have here is drivers. As you can see, it's going to list all your drivers here, and I'm just going to go through each column so you know what each thing means. We have our drivers' names. That's pretty self-explanatory. Then we have last active. So this is referring to the last time our driver was active on their Keep Truckin' app. The next is cycle, so which cycle they're running off of for their logs. We have our groups, so I will show you guys how to create groups and assign drivers to those groups. For our ELD column, it shows you if they are ELD enabled or if the driver is still using the free Keep Truckin' app. Normally here in the app version, it will show you what kind of phone or device the driver is using to record their hours. So for instance, it might, if they have an Apple phone, it'll show the Apple signal or Apple icon, or the Android device, it'll show that little Android, and it'll tell you if their Keep Truckin' app software is updated or not. So if it's not updated, it'll be red. If it is, it'll be gray. Lastly, we have status, so if the driver is active or not. And so it'll either say active or deactivated if they're no longer with your company. And then in this section for action, it'll give you some more actions that you can do for each driver. So we're going to go ahead and click on options for Nathan. And here in the drop down menu, it's going to give you 4 options. It's going to give you edit account, edit groups, view profile, or deactivate. So like I mentioned before, for status, if you would like to deactivate your driver because they have left your company, all you do is have to deactivate them and they will no longer be able to connect to your company for logging hours. And you can actually search your deactivated drivers and reactivate them if they come back to your company. So first off, what we're going to do is go into edit account. So here you can go ahead and edit their email or username if they want to do so. You can update their password if necessary. And any of their information, right? You can update anything you need to. The most important thing here that I just want to showcase is the electronic logging device section. So once your driver's vehicle profile, once their driver profile is created, you're going to want to go in here and make sure that they're enabled for ELDs. All it does is change one section in the app where they can select the vehicle that they're in to record their drive time. And then of course, if your drivers will be using yard move or personal conveyance, you'll want to select those as well. The next option is allow manual drive time. So the only time that you'll want to enable the manual drive time for your drivers is for one or two reasons. Is first one, if they are driving a vehicle that is exempt from the mandate, so any vehicle that's pre-2000, so 1999 or older, you're going to want to enable them for ELD so that they can manually log their drive time. Or if they are experiencing technical difficulties with their ELD, or whatever the situation may be, that they cannot connect to the ELD for their drive time, you can simply enable them for manual drive time and they can go ahead and continue their day. And for those of you who aren't aware of this, the DOT has stipulated that if a driver is having issues connecting or experiencing technical difficulties, the protocol is to contact their safety manager and let them know that they are experiencing technical difficulties. The safety manager then can move them to manual drive time, and then the safety manager can then contact their ELD provider, so Keep Trucking, and then we have time to, I believe it's like 8 days to rectify the situation. And that again is stipulated by the DOT. And then once you've made your changes to your driver's ELD privileges, all you have to do is click Save in the top right-hand corner, and those changes will be saved. All right, so the next thing I'd like to show is Edit Groups. So again, we're going into Options. We're moving to Edit Groups. So here, once you've created groups for your drivers, you can select which groups you want that driver to be in, and you can click multiple, or maybe this won't really pertain to your fleet, but just for your own information, this is where you can do so. The next feature we're going to go to is View Profile. So if you just want to see their profile, not necessarily do anything different to it, you just want to see maybe their the level or the hours of service they have available or where they are, all you do is have to click on the View Profile. And that pretty much sums up the list for all of the drivers. The last thing that I want to go over is that you can add drivers using the blue Add Driver tab in the top right-hand corner. So when you click on this, you can either invite a driver by text message or email invite, or create a driver account. So if you're going to invite a driver, all you have to do is click on it, and then it's going to ask you for phone numbers. So you can simply type in the phone number of the driver, and once you've done that, if there's multiple drivers, you just go ahead and click invite another driver, and you can do this as many times as you need to. If you don't have their phone number, go ahead and click email, type in their email address, and you can add as many as you like in here as well. Once you've added all your contact information, you're going to click send. And when you click send, what it's going to do is it's going to send them a message, a text message or an email, and it's going to say, so-and-so Fleet Manager has invited you to download the Keep Truckin' app and create a login. So it's going to give them a link to send them to either the App Store or Google Play Store to download the Keep Truckin' app directly. And then from there, once they download the app, they'll be able to create the account. So that's how you invite drivers to create their own accounts. And then if you would like to create the driver account yourself, all you have to do is go back to the Add Driver button, click Create a Driver Account, and then populate all of those fields that need information. So for instance, it's going to be anything that has an asterisk next to it. So you'll need to provide a first and last name. You'll have to provide either an email or create a username. Everything else is optional. Here for password, I normally just create a password for the drivers using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they can change the password once they log in. You'll want to select their time zone. The carrier information should populate already if they've entered their DOT number. They'll want to pick their primary cycle and their cargo type. And then again, you'll want to select their privileges for ELD mode. And that pretty much concludes our driver profile section. Now we can look at the fleet manager section. So here you can see a list of all your fleet managers. Here we're not going to have to go through too much detail. It's more self-explanatory. We have our fleet managers listed. You can see here if they have a green check mark, that means they're a fleet admin. So the difference between a fleet admin and a fleet manager is a fleet manager will have access to the dashboard and to reports. And those are the only two sections they have. This admin section won't appear on their screen. Whereas for fleet admin, they're going to have the fleet admin tab. So that's the only difference there. And in the next column, you can see group access. So you can actually manage to have your fleet managers only have certain accesses to different groups. Let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. So I'm going to see, okay, first I need to find a fleet manager. So I've done so, and I know he's a fleet manager because he doesn't have the green check mark. You go to options and you click edit group access. So here, right now, he has access to all drivers and vehicles, but maybe this fleet manager only needs access to drivers and vehicles in Albuquerque. So I'll go ahead and select that group, click update, and now if we go back to his line here, you'll see that he only has access to the Albuquerque group, meaning the drivers and vehicles that have been put in that group. Okay, the next section is features access. So all fleet admin are going to have group access to all drivers and vehicles and all features. But again, for fleet managers, so certain people in your office who don't need to have access to all of that information, you can go ahead and edit their feature access. So it's very similar to group access. All you do is click on edit feature access. And here it's going to pull all the features that are available on the dashboard. And depending on what features you want them to have access to, you just select the ones that you want. So for instance, if I have someone that's in dispatch, maybe I want them to have the driver's information, their log information, but maybe I don't want them necessarily be able to edit a log, so we've unchecked that, but I want them to be able to see where the driver location is. So you would just select driver location. So I went ahead and gave them access to a few different things, and maybe I want them to be able to send messages. I click update. And now if we scroll back to that manager, you'll see that it says for features, he has access to 3 features. Or he has logs, driver location, messages, and the drivers. You can see when the fleet managers and admin were last on and if they're active. And then lastly, if we go into here under options, you'll see the pop-down menu. You can edit their count just like a driver. You can, again, edit their access to groups and features. Or you can grant them admin access, meaning you can go ahead and make them a fleet admin so that they have access to the admin tab. And then you can also, of course, deactivate them if they no longer need access to the Keep Truckin' dashboard. And just for reference, for fleet admin, if you look under their options, you can edit their account, you can revoke admin access, which will make them a fleet manager, or deactivate them. And of course, lastly, just like the drivers, if you would like to add a fleet manager or admin, all you have to do is populate the fields that have the asterisk. So first and last name, an email, a password, and then if you want them to be an admin, select the tab, and if you want them to be a manager, unselect. And that concludes our Fleet Managers tab. Moving on to vehicles. So here we have our vehicles page. You'll see the list of vehicles, their license plate, if they have an ELD assigned to the vehicles, which groups they're in, and what their status is. Now, I didn't mention this in the previous tabs, but you do have these search bars that you can use when you have, a lot of vehicles to go through. You can search by vehicle ID, by ELD serial number, and also we have this available. You can do it by active or deactivated vehicles, or you can just simply pick all of your vehicles, so all active and deactivated vehicles. First, we're going to go ahead and look into our options to see what we can do for vehicles. So again, you can go in and edit your vehicle information if needed. You can edit your groups. You can view the vehicle profile, or you can deactivate the vehicle. It's pretty much the same as the driver options that we went through already, but I'm just going to go into edit vehicle really quick and show you some minor differences. So all you need for the information to create a vehicle profile is the vehicle ID and the fuel type. Everything else is optional. And then what you will want to do is assign an ELD to your vehicle, so we know when we're pulling the information from the ELD which truck to attribute it to. And then here you have some options of what kind of information you want us to collect for you. So if you want us to include the vehicle's miles and jurisdictions in your IFTA reporting, you'll select this button right here. And then, of course, do you want it to automatically add odometer readings to the driver's logs? You can select that or unselect that depending on your preference. And if you guys have the Plus subscription, this is for the Plus subscription as well, the IFTA calculations. But for the Plus subscription, you'll be able to select the settings for your safety events. So, for instance, here we have hard acceleration and hard braking, and we kind of already give you a scale here depending on what kind of vehicle you have and based on its weight of where it should be. So if you have a heavier vehicle that you're driving, you're going to want to put the settings somewhere in this area. That's kind of the general preference or suggestion that we say for safe driving. And then once you've set your settings, you can go ahead and click Save in the top right-hand corner. And then, of course, here you can add a new vehicle. Like I said, all you have to do is add in a vehicle ID, choose the fuel type, and then assign an ELD to that vehicle. So right now I don't have any ELDs available, but if you were to purchase one, you would see the serial number listed here. Click Assign, and then click Save in the top right-hand corner. Okay, so now we're going to move on to groups. So groups are really nice to have if you're a larger fleet and you kind of want to organize your groups or your vehicles and drivers by different groupings. So I'm going to show you really quick how to make a group. All you do is have to give it a group name, so group 1. And then you'll want to put your drivers and your vehicles into this group. So I'm going to say these two these two vehicles are in group 1 and these two drivers are in group 1. So as you can see, it's moved all of my people that I would like into this column, and all I have to do is click Save. So now I have my drivers in my group and my vehicles. And just to show you how this is going to help you, when you go back into your dashboard and you're looking through all of your information, if you want to just focus on one group, you just go to this button right here in the top left-hand corner, and it'll have all your groups listed for you that you can select. So let's go ahead and select this group here, this top group. So you can see it refreshed the overview, and now it's only going to pull the data from the vehicles and drivers in that specified group. So it's really nice to kind of hone in your search and not have to sift through all of your drivers and all of your data. Okay, and then I just want to go in here really quick and note that you can always go back once you've created a group and click on Manage Group and edit your drivers and vehicles from there. Okay, we're going to now move on into Company. So here's all your company details. And if you ever want to change anything, all you simply have to do is click Edit Company Info. You can update your address information. You can go through your fleet settings. So this is really important. I think a lot of people don't realize is here. You can require location for duty status changes. You can select yes. You can manage how allowing a driver to driver messaging. That meaning that do you want your drivers to be able to message each other through the Keep Truckin' app? You can either select yes or no, or do you want to allow drivers to edit account settings? So this meaning that they can go into the driver profile and edit their carrier information, their cycle information, and you can either select yes or no. So if you select no, it'll lock their settings and they won't be able to do it, and only the fleet admin will be able to change that. And then of course your log settings, this is your default. You can set this for all of your drivers' profiles if you wish. And then here we have a driver scorecard setting section. You can use the slider to set the weight of each safety event for overall driver safety score calculations. So right now we have it at 50-50, but maybe hard braking means more to you. So you can move that over and say, you know what, actually hard braking means more to me. I want that to be 75% of the driver's scorecard. And then enter any other DOT numbers that could be affiliated with your company. And that's your company settings right there that you can always have access to edit. If we move to ELDs, the only thing that I want to show here is this is where you can purchase more ELDs. So right now I have an order that is pending checkout. Normally when I have completed a checkout, it'll let me order more ELDs. So you're going to click on a button that says order more ELDs, and it'll bring you to this page where you can select how many ELDs you like to purchase, what cables you would like to use, and then all you have to do is put in your billing information and then click confirm. Now I just want to note that you can always use this tab to order ELDs, but it'll only let you order 10 ELDs or fewer. So if you need to order more, then go ahead and contact your account manager or call our 1-800 or our 855 number, and our support line would be happy to help you place that order. All right, last thing I'm going to go over today is alerts. And alerts are awesome because they give you real-time information of of notifications of things that you'll want to know. So as you can see, I have a lot of alerts here, but I'm going to just create one with you guys together. So first I'm going to click on alert type, and it's going to give me a list of the alerts that we have available to our fleet admin and managers right now. We have HOS violation, vehicle fault code alerts, and vehicle defect and DVIRs, and then some safety events. Right now, we're going to go ahead and create a HOS violation. You can name it whatever you would like. Normally, you can always name it something maybe group specific if you want it to pertain to a certain group. In the next section, you can select which drivers you want to be part of this alert. So right now, all of my drivers are selected, but maybe I just want this to be for the alpha group. So I can update that and maybe put in here, this is for my alpha group. So I've selected my group, and then who do I want to receive? Who's going to be the recipient of this alert? So right now, automatically all fleet managers are selected, but I don't know if everyone needs to know this. Maybe it just pertains to one person that's in charge of the alpha group. So I'll pick whoever that person may be, click update, and then you can always add someone that's not in the Keep Trucking community. You can add just someone's email that you want to receive these alerts as well. And once you've done that, you're going to click save in the top right hand corner, and our alert has been created. And then of course you can always turn this alert off in status with this little toggle right here if you want to turn it off or turn it back on. And then you can go into options, edit the alert, or delete it. Okay, so that concludes our deep dive into the admin panel, and now we're going to open it up for Q&A.